Hi, this is Barry Walsh, your COVID-19 Math 10 teacher online. And as promised, today we're doing systems of equations with fractions. Now the nice thing about this is when you're doing these systems with fractions, you actually don't have to deal with the fractions. And this is good news for you. We have a technique, a nice tool for your math toolkit where you get rid of the fractions and you don't have to deal with them. Wow. All right, let's get going. So question 1 is here. And here's our equation. You can see the fractions in it. So 3 over 5, I'm going to rewrite this, okay? 3 over 5y minus 6 over 5 equals 3x over 10. Okay, so the first thing you do, the first step is 1, find the lowest common denominator of all the fractions. Now there's 3 fractions. The lowest common denominator in this case is 10. So we multiply every part of the equation by the lowest common denominator. So 10, I'm going to put a 10 there. And I'm going to put a 10 here. And it's really 10 over 1, isn't it? And for the first example, I'm going to show the 10 over 1. So step 2, multiply every part of the equation by the LCD. All right, let's proceed to the next step. So when you multiply fractions, it's numerator by numerator, denominator by denominator. So 10 times 3y is 30y on the top. 1 times 5 on the bottom is 5. Now don't forget that red negative sign in there. 10 times 6 is 60. And on the bottom, 1 times 5 is 5. Equals 10 times 3x is 30x, and 1 times 10 is 10. All right, step 3. Divide to eliminate the fractions. So watch what happens here when we divide. 30y divided by 5 is 6y. 60 divided by 5 is 12. Equals 30x divided by 10 is 3x. Look, no more fractions. Hey! So now we can put this into slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b form, rather easily. You get the y by itself on the left-hand side of the equation. The 3x is already on the right, so it stays on the right. And the 12 moves over from left to right. And the shortcut for opposite operation is when we move the negative 12 from the left side to the right side, we change its sign. Remember, we talked about that last class. last lesson. Only one thing left to do. We divide everything by 6. Y equals 1/2 x. See, 3 over 6 reduces to 1/2. We keep the x plus 12 divided by 6, 2. So there is our first equation. Okay, let's put that on our graph. So we have a y-intercept of 2. The slope is right 2 and up 1. Right 2, that's the run. The rise is up 1. Right 2, up 1. And I can go back this way if I want to. Okay. Get my ruler. And there's our first line. I want to keep things in their proper place here so it won't be confusing for you. Now let's look at the next equation. First step, what's the first step? Find the lowest common denominator. Lowest common denominator is what? Yes, it's 4. So we multiply every part of the equation. Even if there were a whole number here, we would still multiply that whole number by 4. Now, I'm not going to put the 1 underneath the 4. I wanted to show you that in the first example. But when we're multiplying by the LCD, it's just the numerator that gets multiplied, okay? 4y on the top, and we just keep the 4. 4 times 1x is 4x over 2. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12 over 4. That's not too bad. So that's step 2. Multiply every part of the equation by the LCD. Step 3, divide to eliminate fractions. Okay, so if we divide here, 4 divided by 4 is 1y, or just y. 4x divided by 2 is 2x. And negative 12 divided by 4 is negative 3. And in order to get this in slope-intercept form, we have to take the 2x and move it over across the equal sign. When you change sides, you change signs. So y is equal to negative 2x minus 3. There's our second equation. So, where's minus 3? Minus 3 is here. And it's, oh, I'm going to put a 1 there, okay? Write 1 down 3. Okay, write 1, no, it's write 1 down 2. So if I'm going the opposite direction, it's left 1 up 2. Left 1 up 2, like so. And there is my line. Whoops. And if I extended that, it would go up here like that. So what is the solution to this system of equations? The solution is minus 2 and 1. How do you like that? It's not too bad. It's getting used to the steps involved and then practice, right? No matter what you do in math, you have to practice. Practice makes things so much better. I think you know that. Sometimes students are reluctant to admit that they have to practice math, but it's just like music, guitar, hockey, taekwondo, whatever it is, you have to practice. Okay, so our next problem, number 2. So here's our first equation. What is the LCD, the lowest common denominator? It is 9, correct. So I'm going to rewrite that. Give me a little more space. If you squeeze things together, sometimes it just doesn't give you enough room, and then you go back and look what you did and you can't see it because it's all jammed together. So the lowest common denominator is 9, and we have to multiply every part of the equation by 9. So 9 times 2y is 18y over 3. And here we have 9 times 2x is 18x over 9. That's an 8. And over here, 9 times 2 is 18 over 3. So that was the second step. Third step, divide to eliminate the fractions. Okay, 18y divided by 3 is 6y. 18x divided by 9 is 2x. And 18 divided by 3 is 6. Now we just proceed to put that in y equals mx plus b form, slope-intercept form. 2y equals, this 2x has to go over to the other side of the equal sign, so it goes from plus 2x to minus 2x. That's the shortcut for opposite operations, pardon me, plus 6. The 6 does not change signs. It's on the right here. It's on the right here. Last step, divide everything by 6. These, when you divide, you get 1 or 1y. And we can reduce this. 2 over 6 reduces to 1 over 3, x, and plus 1. Now we don't mind there being, it's no problem when the slope is a fraction. From the very beginning, I taught you that always consider the slope to be a fraction. So if the slope is a fraction, we don't get upset about that. You don't have to be intimidated by that. That's what I mean. Okay, next equation. Okay, let's graph this one first. We'll put it on. So there's our y-intercept at 1, and it goes right 3, down 1. 1, 2, 3, down 1. And I'll go in the other direction, left 3, up 1. So that makes my line long enough. You probably figured that out on your own. That right 3 down 1 and left 3 up 1 are the same thing. Okay, so let me rewrite this. With a little bit of space. What is the common denominator? 6. Yes, you were right. If you were thinking 6, you won the prize. 6, 6, and 6. See, here we have a whole number, and here we have 0. We still multiply everything in the equation by 6, the common denominator. So Here, remember, it's just the numerators that we're multiplying, okay, by the LCD. So 6 times 1y is 6y, and that's over 2. 6, or it's going to be negative 6 here, times 1x is negative 6x over 3. 6 times 1 is 6, that's easy, and 6 times 0 is 0. So we just finished step 2. Step 3, divide to eliminate the fractions. So 6y divided by 2 is 3y. 6x divided by 3 is 2x. Bring down the plus 6 equals 0. Now, to get y by itself on the left-hand side of the equal sign, we've got to move the 2x over, got to move the 6 over. And the shortcut for opposite operation, when we change, consider this to be a minus 2x. So when that changes across the equal sign, it becomes plus 2x. And the plus 6, when it goes across the equal sign, it changes from plus 6 to minus 6. And what's left? We have to we have to divide everything by 3. Three divided by 3 is 1. 1y, or y, is equal to 2 over 3x. You can't reduce 2 over 3, we'll just leave it that way. And 6 divided by 3 is 2. So there we go. I've got one in blue and one in red. Okay. That doesn't matter, does it? No. 2/3 x minus 2. So minus 2 is here. And maybe I better put that in. No, we'll try it in red and see if you can see it. I needed a lot of space to work out these equations, and that's why I only put 2 on this page. But I think we can do it. Okay, so we're at minus 2, that's the y-intercept, and we go to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and up 2, 1, 2. And if we did that again, 1, 2, 3, and up 2, it would be like that. So if we draw the line here, and my question to you is, what is the solution to this system of linear equations? Is it 0, 3 or 3, 0? 3, 0. Right now, I have to change graph paper. I'll be right back. Question 3. So, we are down here. Remember the steps from before. I can write them up here again if you want. So, step number 1 was find. See if you can remember. Find the what? LCD, correct? Lowest common denominator. 2. What's the second step? Multiply what? What do you multiply? Multiply the numerators. Yes, we multiply the numerators, but we multiply everything, every part, right? Everything in the equation by the LCD. Third step. Remember? Divide to eliminate the fractions. And after that, you put it in slope-intercept form. But those are the 3 steps to deal with the fractions right here. All right, let's go to this one, I'm going to use red. All right, 2y is equal to minus 4 over 3x plus 8. So this is like 8 over 1, this is like 2 over 1, so there's really only one denominator. So it's the LCD. Find the LCD. So now we're going to multiply everything in the equation by the LCD. Everything. Including the whole numbers. Everything. 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times negative 4x is negative 12x. And for our denominator, we have 3. Plus 8 times 3 is 24. Are you okay with that? 6y equals, when you divide, negative 4x plus 24. So I did all 3 steps. So now the fractions are gone, and we have to put it in slope-intercept form. Now in this particular case, the x term and the single number, they're on the right-hand side anyway, so all we have to do is divide by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1, or 1y, and that is equal to negative 4 over 6x. I'm going to reduce it to negative 2 over 3x. That'll make it easier to count spaces with the slope. Plus 24 divided by 6 is 4. There's our first equation. So it starts at 4, that's the y-intercept, and it goes right 3, down 2. Right 3, 1, 2, 3, down 2. So let's draw that line. There's that line. Okay, for this one, what is the lowest common denominator? 6, isn't it? So I'm going to just give myself a little more space here. I don't like things all jammed together. It's confusing when you go back and look at something later when it's all jammed together and you can't figure out what you did. Sound familiar? The common denominator is 6, so we multiply everything by 6. When there's a negative sign, like there is here, whatever the LCD is, it then belongs, the negative sign belongs to the number 6. So when you multiply, you get negative 6 over 6. Over here, 6 times 1y is 6y over 2. Okay, so that's all right. Equals 6 times 1 is 6 over 2. So we did step 1, we did step 2, and step 3, divide to eliminate the fraction. So we get 3y equals negative 1x. Whoops. No, that's just supposed to be minus. I put the minus sign so close to the 6 that I forgot it was there. So 3y minus 1x equals 3. So we have to take this negative 1x and move it over here. And for opposite operation, we would have to add x, right? Add 1x. So 3y equals 1x, or x, plus 3. I'll put the 1 there because we have to divide by 3 anyway. So when we divide, and I'm gonna write it here because there's not very much room down there. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so that gives us y, so we have y equals 1/3 x plus 1. So here we are. That's our y-intercept 1. The slope tells me, the run says, right 3, and the rise says up 1. Right 3, up 1. I'll do it again. Right 3, up 1. Okay. So, what is our solution? The solution to this system of linear equations is 3, 2. That wasn't so bad, was it? I hope it wasn't. Just give you a chance to look at that. I love this technique of getting rid of fractions with an equation. It is so helpful. Now, what I want to do right now, I have page 3 handy. I'm just going to place it here. And I made up a bunch of practice problems. So number 1, the first equation, then I put a comma, then the second equation. And I made up 8 questions for you. Now the answers are down here and they're all mixed up. So what I'd like you to do is stop the recording, take a picture of this with your phone, and then work these out. Use graph paper, 2 lines per graph, okay? So number 1, you don't put number 1 and number 2 and number 3 all on the same graph. It's just too cluttered. Just do it the way that I did it. That's the best way to do it. So that's the end of our lesson for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, everybody.